Hello, my name's Aoife Sugrue. I'm an acting senior executive engineer with Cork County Council's Regional and Local Roads Design Office. Today I'm going to give you an overview of our Green Public Procurement pilot project, which we've initiated here in Cork County Council in our Roads Office. I'm going to share with you our learnings since we commenced GPP implementation in 2023 and outline our future implementation plans, essentially give you a local authority perspective on green public procurement. So by way of background to our project, we could see that severe weather events were becoming more frequent and more intense, particularly over recent years, and this was having a significant impact on our road network, as you can see here from the photos in the background. So while we as Roads Authority engineers were busy designing road maintenance programmes to adapt to our changing climate, we then also realised we needed to look at the whole mitigation side in how we could reduce the carbon we're emitting from our roads projects. So with this in mind, in 2023 we secured funding from the Department of Transport to look at this whole area of GPP and sustainability in road maintenance. We wanted to examine methods where we could include GPP into our local authority programmes by trialling different low carbon techniques, by researching best practice in this area, and also then by coming up with solutions where we could embed carbon reduction sustainability into our various road maintenance projects going forward. So why do we look at GPP? Well, under national climate action targets, the public sector has greenhouse gas reduction targets to meet of 51% by 2030 and onwards to net zero by 2050. This has been reflected locally as well in our own climate action plan, where we have a suite of actions where committing our road sector to examine methods where we could reduce the carbon footprint of our projects. So using GPP as one method, we can work towards achieving these targets. Secondly, we're a significant budget holder here. In 2025, we have a road maintenance budgets of 83 million for our regional and local roads. We have a large network of over 12,000 kilometres of roads to maintain. So therefore we do procure a large amount of road works. This gives us the power, I suppose, to influence the market and to encourage sustainable innovation in road maintenance. And lastly there, Cork County Council, like all local authorities, work closely with local communities and businesses in driving different projects, including climate action at a local level. So I suppose by leading out on climate action projects such as this one, it does send an important message that we are taking our climate obligations seriously, and it shows, I suppose, what can be delivered locally as well at a local level. So this is our pilot project. It consisted of 6 different work programmes. We initially carried out a spend analysis on our annual budget to see which was our largest area of spend, so to inform us where we should be directing GPP initially in order to get the biggest reward. So this was what we call our restoration improvement contract, and it accounted for 54% of our budget. It was also our highest energy area use too, so it made sense from a climate perspective to focus on this first and foremost. Next, we looked at what existing tools and guidance was out there for us. We used the EPA guidance document and the associated OGP toolkit, which are both excellent resources, and these are available to all public bodies. We also used the EU GPP guidance document, and this had a particular focus on roads infrastructure and roads maintenance, so this was very particular of interest to here and relevance to us in Cork County Council. Thirdly, we reviewed various technologies that were out there, existed tried and tested technologies. We didn't want to go reinventing the wheel. There's just a list of them there. I won't go into them in detail. Then we looked at the engagement piece. We engaged with various stakeholders, such as local authorities here and in the UK, academics and other agencies. I suppose we wanted to learn from other projects and to see if we could replicate positives from them and to avoid any mistakes outlined by others. So one of the most important pieces of any procurement is market engagement. It's important to understand what the market is capable of delivering before you go out to tender. So with this in mind, we engaged with our suppliers and our contractors to determine what their availability of green solutions, and it also we wanted to identify methods to incentivise how we could incentivise greening of the market. It was also, I suppose, a way of letting the market know that Cork County Council was intending now to implement and introduce GPP in our tenders, and this would be something we'll be doing going forward. And finally then we commenced our GPP, implementing them into our contracts. We started taking a number of low carbon trials as well on our projects. And we began with a light touch approach initially to see how the market reacted, and we built on this year on year, as I'll outline in my next slide. So in 2023, we commenced by allowing 5% award criteria marks in our quality section for sustainable initiatives. We chose award criteria as we didn't want to exclude any contractors from the competition at this early stage of GPP implementation. So award criteria in GPP is a method of allocating marks for specific proposals to address an environmental impact. We kept it open and asked the contractor just to demonstrate one of 3 areas, such as the use of recycled asphalt, working to an energy management system, or demonstration of other environmental initiatives, such as using lower carbon fuels or waste reduction techniques, etc. Next then we had a standalone green contract for in-situ recycling. So this is where the existing road is recycled and stabilised, so it's a low carbon option in itself. and it also adheres to the circular economy principles as the road is being reused. So we had taken this type of work before on an ad hoc basis, but this is the first time that we went out in a county-wide contract. We got greater value for money as we had greater economies of scale by bundling our sites together, and it was also a means of letting our area engineers know that this technique was available and worth considering for the roads as a lower carbon and a lower cost option. Next then, we took the opportunity to collaborate with a contractor that we'd already appointed on a warm mix trial. This is a lower temperature asphalt. So we worked with this contractor, something that they wanted to also implement as well, and we were able to collaborate together and monitor the performance of this over time when comparing it to hot mix asphalt. And finally then we moved all our contracts over to supplyGov.ie. This is a national procurement platform for local authorities and other public bodies. They have a large amount of frameworks already in place which we were able to utilise, and it gave us the flexibility also including GPP. So moving on to 2024, we increased our award criteria mark from 5% to 10%. We wanted to increase our GPP ambition, and we also knew from our experience with in 2023 that the market could match this. So we asked tenders in this instance to demonstrate 2 areas where they could show a reduced environmental impact over the lifetime of the contract. So then we went on to increase our recycling contract also from 7 to 14 sites, and we could see that there was definitely more traction from the area engineers excuse me, in choosing this as both a low carbon and a low cost option. And then after successfully completing the warm mix trial in 2023, we followed on with 5 sites in 2024. And we continue to monitor these and so far are happy with the performance to date. So then on to 2025. We kept our award criteria marks at 10%, but we also introduced technical specifications. So we knew from our market engagement piece that all contractors now had the capability to place or produce a minimum of 10% recycled asphalt. So we actually went and specified this in the contract and then allowed an additional 10% for award criteria marks. So we then went with recycling, we increased from 14 to 18 sites, and with the war mix we ended up specifying a 25% war mix across all our contracts. Again, from our market research, we knew that the contractors could deliver this, and essentially a number of contractors were all actually using war mix as their default option. So you can see by introducing GPP gradually and building on it year on year, we were able to bring the market with us on this journey. Our contractors have developed, I suppose, the capacity to deliver now more sustainable products and more sustainable techniques, and they're continuing to do this and increase this ambition in line with what we expect. So on foot of all the work we were doing, undertaking on GPP, the Department of Transport asked Cork County Council to collaborate with them in developing national GPP guidance for the regional and local road sector. So in 2025, this guidance and information document was published to assist road authorities in working towards implementing GPP and in reducing the overall environmental impact of the service delivery in line with their climate action plans and climate obligations. The document really outlines what GPP guidance and tools are available to local authorities and how they can be applied across roads projects. It also has a number of case studies from both ourselves and Cork County Council, other local authorities nationally, and Transport Infrastructure Ireland where GPP was implemented. So there's huge benefit to knowledge sharing, I suppose, and all these similar practices can easily be replicated by local authorities across the country. So this document was issued by way of circular to all Director Services and Roads in May 2025. So where do we want to move now in future? We want to look at the whole verification piece. We want to focus on verifying what was requested and awarded in the contracts to make sure that these can actually be delivered. I suppose we need to show that we've taken all reasonable steps and efforts to ensure that the tender can deliver the GPP proposals that are outlined in the tender documents. The next piece then we want to focus on measuring our GPP progress to date and measuring our carbon footprint reduction. So with this in mind, we're working with the Climate Action Regional Office in the Atlantic Seaboard South, and they've established a working group to trial the use of TII's carbon tool on the regional and local road network. So I suppose the development of a standardised approach which local authorities can use in measuring the carbon footprint of their projects, this would be hugely beneficial, and it would provide, I suppose, a uniform and standardised methodology for local authorities in measuring and monitoring and reporting on our climate actions and emissions. So finally, what's the main learnings and takeaways? I suppose focus on your high spend areas initially. Market engagement, essentially, you need to understand what the market can deliver before you go out to tender. Learn from experience of other agencies, other public bodies. Choose the most appropriate GPP methodology to suit your needs. Choose award criteria where you want to reward contractors for showing environmental initiatives. Choose specifications where you have them in place. It's important to introduce GPP gradually. We need to give the market time to adjust and deliver. We rely on the market to innovate and research at the supplier base to bring low carbon methodologies to the market, and so a stepped approach to GPP is recommended. Really, in implementing GP for the first time, we need to be aware to balance, I suppose, the requirements of introducing green solutions with the ability of the market to deliver, and you need to keep the tendering process competitive. And finally, then the verification piece is important to be able to confirm compliance with the contract requirements. So that's my presentation. Thank you for listening. Thank you to the EPA for the opportunity to speak with you. My contact details are above there if anyone wishes to reach out and contact me after the presentation. Thank you very much.